This little story is actually a few months back. It's right after I left Dirty Rat Cycles up there in Salt Lake City, when the work I did on my bike there kind of kept me there a little longer than I might have stayed otherwise, and it was starting to get cold by then, and so I started heading south, directly south. Well, what I hadn't realized is that most of these roads are up in the altitude, way up there, and I had some really cold nights, and even the days were pretty chilly. And so I had to get up and move. I couldn't move like until like 10 o'clock a.m., you know, until it started to warm up enough to be able to travel. And so, you know, I wasn't going to make these videos, but I started looking at them and I thought, you know, I kind of like them. I'm going to make some of this stuff. So this is going to be the first. And in this one, I had camped somewhere just outside of Moab, actually in Moab, behind Moab, and was taking off and heading on that chilly ride south. The days weren't terrible, but the nights were fucking cold. And with that, well, let's get it rolling. Let's take a look at last night's camp. Yep, it's a campground. I, however, am over here. I haven't paid anything. I was told that with the shutdown, there's nobody to take your money. We'll see what happens. I've been here a night. That's it. Just gonna start packing. I'm kind of waiting for that sun to get down that wall there and hit me. And then I guess I'll move on. This is supposed to be a fort, or was a fort of some kind. I probably won't get into the history of it too much. I just want to look at it. Kids go in there after they get bored and get out of there. Oh, here they come. Okay. Who was this cat? Says here he was a religious leader, huh? I'm finding this to be a fascinating little just roadside pit stop that I happened to cross. I think this was some kind of a really early Mormon settlement, is what it looks like. These little houses have the history from all these different families on them, which I'm not going to get into. I'm just enjoying the pit spot. One of the things is it all talks about how nice they were, and they probably were. But living in the hardships of a little community like this, in the hard winters, they sure did have a lot of fucking children. They always had children on the way, so that tells you what they had to do around here. Let's look in this one. Huh? Here, you guys can read it if you want to stop it and look at it, I guess. Let's see if I can get it. Let's look in here. Some of these people started doing really big things at the age of like 17. Cool. This cabin has been decorated by the descendants of the Jones and McElprang families. Please help us preserve, blah, blah, blah. So far, they've had one of those in every one of these I've gone to. I've just been in, it's like the third one. They got a bunch of them here. Look around. Huh? This is just a roadside stop. This must have been some kind of a kitchen. You can read it if you like, but what it's talking about is the people that settled here lived in their wagons before they built their houses. Now this couple lived in their wagon for 4 years at various places around. It said the wagon was the only semblance of home they had, right? So they lived like around the rivers and creeks around here or something. And then eventually, after a couple of floods and stuff, they moved to what is now Moab. Says they had a stove in their wagon. I imagine this is it. Huh? This one looks to be the schoolhouse. Obviously, little chalkboards. Oops. Yeah. Apples. Obviously, wax or fruit or plastic. They all say this too. They all got a thing. Are you related to these guys? Hit this and find out. Huh. So this was a mission. This is very religious, this whole thing. I don't have the details. This is what it says here. We're in a place called Bluff. I think it's still Utah. Let's take a look at the sign. There it is. If these are legitimate where they were, they all lived together, I doubt they had a concrete or whatever this is front. Here's another one. This one will tell us of it.
Life in Bluff involved joy and sorrow. Some of the most joyous were the births, and death brought some of the saddest. 3 Decker brothers, Cornelius, James, and Nathaniel, came with their wives. James' wife, Anna, gave birth to the first baby born on the expedition, Lenora Deseret. Emma, Cornelius's wife, gave birth to the first baby born in Bluff. In 1901, diphtheria struck the family of James and Anna Marie Decker. Lynn, a son, died on the 15th of December. The coffin was not allowed in the meeting house for fear of spreading the disease. The next day, James and their daughter Gertrude, 14, passed away. The family was quarantined and their log home was burned to stop the spread of the disease. They moved into the new home James had been building, but in late January, 2 more children died, Horace 17 and Claire 19. Anna Marie lost 4 of her 11 children and her husband in just a little over a month. The diphtheria epidemic touched others, but none died. Anna felt great sorrow, but faith in her Savior Jesus Christ and a knowledge that she would see them again gave her solace in her grief. Her friends and neighbors showed great love to her in acts of service and kindness. That's just the way it was in Bluff. When joy came to one, it came to all. But when sorrow struck, it was felt by all as well. It took great faith and courage to face the challenges. As each of us face challenges in our lives, faith in Jesus Christ still brings peace to our minds.
They had an orchard here. These are all the families. So this is how they established their deal here. All in a circle, kind of like circling the wagons. Reading a lot of these things. These guys experienced extreme hardship, and it looks like they really stuck together with each other. I guess you would under those conditions. A lot of deaths, a lot of births. This was all supposed to be in the late 1800s here. So, you know, they had cold winters. They were isolated out here. They died from diseases, sometimes exposure, childbirth, all kind of shit, man. And it looks like they really took care of each other a lot. I got a feeling in those situations that's the way it becomes, right? I mean, this is all you have is just the people here, you know? All right, let's take a look at the blacksmith shop. A blacksmith shop with skilled blacksmiths was necessary. Amosa Barton, Joseph Barton's brother, was kept busy fitting horseshoes, repairing wagons, and making, sharpening, and repairing everything from farming implements to carpentry tools. In addition to being a blacksmith, Amosa was the country's first sheriff. In 1882, Amosa was appointed as the county's prosecuting attorney. In 1887, while operating a traditional post in the Rincon, 12 miles west of here, Amosa was killed in a conflict that arose over a bartering transaction. Let's take a look at his blacksmith shop, huh? Ain't that cool? Huh? Well, hand crank drill. Okay, originally they got water from the San Juan River, which, according to Mary McElprang Jones, water from the San Juan was so hard and muddy, cottonwood ashes were put into it to stand overnight, thus cleaning and settling it for morning use. Within weeks, they began to dig wells. This was a well. It's filled in, but it was a real well, according to that. I think this was an original cabin. The others have obviously been refurbished. This one's got a concrete walkway to it now. But I think this one, they left it as it was. Look at this. This one had a few rooms to it, huh? The Bartons. I'm not gonna read it all. Ooh, look at that fancy stove they had. I don't know what's going on here. They used pegs, Sam, instead of nails. Maybe, I don't know, I guess these were the rooms, it looks like. They just built a metal roof over the top of it, probably to kind of preserve it. This one looks original to me. Logs that were just trimmed with an axe, I guess. Guys took turns being the sheriff and generally didn't get paid for it. So there was finally one guy who did get paid $100 a year. I guess that's how they kept law and order. Let's look in this wagon. Well, pretty narrow. This is kind of cool from where you sit. Wow. It's pretty interesting, man. Okay, this is in Bluff, Utah. And beautiful area. Looks kind of tough to live in. But if any of you guys know more about the history of it, and tell me about it in the comments. There's like a tourist thing there that, you know, probably sells trinkets or something, but I'm not going to go in there. I just stopped here for a little, you know, roadside stop because everything catches my attention and I stop for anything and everything. It really hinders my travels. I don't make a lot of time most of the time. Let's go look at the water wheel. I'm not sure what's going on here. But this thing picks up water in them buckets, right? And then when it gets to the top, it dumps them into this trough, which comes down here. I don't know what this was used for. I think they had them down on the river, which sometimes was empty and sometimes was full. But they needed to irrigate their crops. I believe these guys were Mormons, and they finally brought water in from somewhere way upriver. They built a canal of some kind. Gold was reported found here, and there was a rush. All kind of people came through here, but it never panned out. It says that a lot of them came unequipped and many of them died on the way trying to get out, left their provisions behind. So somebody bullshitted about the gold, I guess. So I think this had to do with dredging gold. I don't know. You guys can straighten me out in the comments section. Maybe I'll learn something from you all. If you know anything about Bluff Fort in Bluff, Utah here. Kind of out in the middle of nowhere, boys. Now here's an interesting one. The community's co-op store was located in the northeast corner of the fort. This cooperative venture, which provided a means for buying, selling, and trading, became very successful. The Navajos and Utes also frequented the store, trading their wool, pelts, and woven goods. Near the turn of the century, the log structure was replaced with a two-story stone building. The upper floor of the new store was used as the community's dance hall. In 1925, a bank robber, alias Fred Starr, used too many sticks of dynamite while attempting to open this safe, which caused the demise of both the co-op and the Fred Starr. And the Fred Starr. Log meeting house. School, church, social hall, courthouse. Let's see what it looks like. You get to go into everything. Look at this. We got our choice of like 5 languages.
The log meeting house was built soon after the pioneers arrived in Bluff. It was not a church, but simply a meeting house. Albador Lyman. Violin and horn, Thales Haskell's accordion, and Benjamin Perkins' gifted voice and annex, as well as the sound of harmonicas, choirs, vocal duets, and solos. Church services were also held in this building until 1895, when it was replaced with a stone meeting house. Far too frequently, members of the little community gathered in the meeting house with heavy hearts as they mourned the passing of one of their own. It was uncommon for all the children of any family to reach adulthood. The Bluff Cemetery gravestones paint a sad portrait of the challenges of life on the frontier in the 1880s. The cemetery records list many children who died within days or hours of their birth. Others died in their youth from diphtheria, measles, croup, or from simple cuts and scrapes that became infected. Some mothers died in childbirth. Burns from the fireplace took their toll, as did falls from horses. When wildflowers were in bloom, the caskets were adorned with them. Prayers, hymns of comfort, eulogies, and gospel messages provided an eternal perspective and comfort to the mourners. Following each service, a slow procession led by the casket bearers made its way through town and up onto Cemetery Hill. Here, a vista of the entire town, the river and red cliffs provided a fitting background for a final resting place. Sharing the gospel of Jesus Christ was considered a sacred duty, at significant sacrifice to their families. Those called answered the call to serve missions for 2 to 3 years. Some, particularly the older men, served missions prior to coming to Bluff, while others were called from Bluff. Most of the young single men of Bluff were called, as were many married men whose departure placed the responsibility for the livelihood of their families upon their wives and children. Following a quarterly conference, Brigham Young Jr. recorded in his journal that so many men had been called away from Bluff to serve elsewhere that there weren't enough left to maintain the irrigation ditch.
Looks like a bunch of bikes showed up. Say hi.
Hi.
They are. Well, these guys are from Germany.
No, Austria. I'm from
Austria?
Germany.
Austria?
Swiss people for Germany.
They're from Germany.
Yeah.
You live in Phoenix.
I live in Phoenix.
What language, Austria?
German.
It's German in
German.
Austria?
It's
I've
German,
never
yeah.
been there. I wouldn't know.
Okay. You
Ah.
must learning.
I want to learn Spanish.
Okay.
That's more useful here.
Okay.
So you taking them on this tour? You taking them on this ride?
Ob dir die Tour gefällt
Ja,
und ob
super.
sie dir gefällt, ja.
Bitte.
I guess so. So he live in Phoenix.
Yeah. And you live
This is it. I live here.
here?
This is everything. No,
Okay.
My motorcycle.
Okay, your motorcycle,
I have nothing
your house.
else.
Your house. Okay.
This is everything.
Okay.
Yeah. Interesting
Cool,
place
yeah.
here.
Yeah, sehr
Mormon
interessant,
settlement, huh?
ja.
Mormons.
Ja, Mormon, ja.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna keep going, man.
Yeah, drive safe, buddy.
All right, brother.
Drive safe.
See you later.
Yeah, see you later.
Later on, man. Guess I'll be on the way.